Great North Woods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, the legal battle over Juniper Ridge landfill continues as the Penobscot Nation and environmental advocates are working to block its expansion.
We'll have the latest coming up. Also, the Lincoln Town Council passes a revised budget, decreasing the amount of cuts. We'll have the details on that.
And folks in Old Town celebrated first responders yesterday. We'll have more on that as well. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us this morning. Happy Friday, everyone.
Yes, happy
We're
Friday.
almost through another work week.
We are.
You know, it's that time of year. Everybody has plans just about every weekend. It's just such a busy time of year.
Yeah, Mainers definitely pack their summers full. You have to embrace the nice weather while we have it.
You got to soak it in. And the good news is we've got some more nice weather on the way. In fact, it looks like a great weekend ahead.
It does. Yeah. We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Friday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Clifton General Store. Start your morning right at Clifton General Store. Fresh coffee and hot breakfast. Family owned and operated. Alrighty, here we go this morning. It's a nice start and it's going to be a very nice day filled with a lot of sunshine. No advisories in effect. So if you're looking for reasons to get outside, this will be one of those nice days to take advantage of that with a front that's tracking off towards the east. Not a whole lot going on with that, and overall not a whole lot of anything right behind it. This will not be causing any troubles for us either. Futurecast moving forward, lots of sunshine today, a few clouds developing from time to time. We will be under a mostly cleared sky overnight tonight. So overall for today, middle 80s on the way, not too shabby under a mostly sunny sky, and that west breeze only at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Look at this, overnight mostly clear with only middle 50s overnight, and the wind overall looking nice and calm. And then it's Saturday, mid 80s again under a mostly sunny sky with that south breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Hourly forecast pushing forward, plenty of sunshine with temperatures warming up into the 80s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
All right, thank you, Devin. We'll see you a little later on. Well, first this morning, the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office says 4 people were arrested and nearly a kilo of drugs was seized after officers executed a drug-related search warrant in Kentuskeg. The Penobscot County Sheriff's Office says that they, along with multiple other agencies, conducted the search warrant on Townhouse Road in Kentuskeg. The raid follows a multi-month investigation into drug trafficking from that location. The Sheriff's Office says it seized nearly 1 kilo of methamphetamine, fentanyl, crack cocaine, and other assorted drugs. They say a stolen vehicle was also recovered from the scene.
We do want folks to know that there is a large police presence in the area, but there are enough resources here to make sure that the public is safe and was at all times.
32-year-old James Cook, 30-year-old Ava Peterson, and 50-year-old Troy Bryant, all of Kentuskeg, were arrested, as well as 37-year-old Stuart Fairweather of Newport. Cook, Peterson, and Fairweather are charged with aggravated drug trafficking. Bryant is charged with unlawful possession. James Cook also had an active warrant for eluding an officer. They're being held at the Penobscot County Jail.
The Penobscot Nation and Conservation Law Foundation were back in court to fight over the Juniper Ridge landfill expansion. The Department of Environmental Protection issued a second positive public benefit determination in March after a judge struck down the first determination earlier this year. Our Grace Blanchard has more.
The legal battle over the Juniper Ridge landfill continues as the Penobscot Nation and environmental advocates are once again working to block its expansion.
The time for environmental justice is now.
The Maine Department of Environmental Protection cleared the expansion project a second time in March after a judge rejected its initial approval earlier this year. The state-owned landfill, operated by a subsidiary of Casella Waste Systems, has drawn sustained concern over PFAS contamination, air pollution, and burdens on communities along the Penobscot River.
It is the largest landfill in the state, and it threatens the health of the Penobscot River. Leachate from the landfill is being minimally treated and then discharged, and so we know that there's PFAS pollution.
More than half of Maine's landfill waste ends up at Juniper Ridge, which is expected to reach capacity in 2028. The proposed project would expand the landfill footprint by 61 acres and add 11 years to its operations. The DEP argues the landfill is well maintained and the expansion will ease local strain by requiring measures such as a limit on the sludge the landfill takes and PFAS treatment if the license is approved.
It really stretches the imagination and exceeds reason to imagine that this expansion of a landfill that pollutes in so many ways and through so many pathways could ever not perpetuate this undue burden that the Penobscot Nation has been bearing for decades and decades.
CLF and the Penobscot Nation argue DEP ignored the court's order to confront the toll of waste pollution on the nation and how this landfill expansion would deepen it.
The expansion would be really close to some really significant tribal lands where members do recreation. So a whole lot of concern for all of our people, especially our elderly and children and those who may be more vulnerable.
The DEP and Casella Waste Systems declined comment. The judge is anticipated to reach a decision within the next few months. In Bangor, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, meanwhile, a sad ending in the search for a missing Rockland man. Authorities say the body of 49-year-old Scott Clark has been found in Waldo County. He had been reported missing on Monday, and police were attempting to check on his well-being. According to the Midcoast Villager, there's no information about where he was found or how he died, but no foul play is suspected.
A Portland woman says she was the victim of a disturbing attack this week while out for a walk near the Back Cove. The unidentified woman says she felt that a young man was following her Wednesday as she listened to a lecture while walking. She says she felt the man coming up from behind her and then felt something wet on her leg and backside. The victim says she was assaulted with that man's bodily fluids, and that's when she called police. She says the man was charged with assault but was not taken into custody. Police say the case remains under investigation.
In other news, water remediation efforts are underway at Northern Light Blue Hill Hospital. A statement says recent tests of the hospital's well water show levels of PFAS over the Maine State Drinking Water Guidelines. The tests found PFAS levels at 20.1 parts per trillion. The current state guidance mandates remediation over anything over 20. Vice President of Facilities Tim Doak says, quote, "We are taking immediate steps to implement a short-term fix and a long-term solution that ensures our staff and patients have access to clean water, regardless of how small the potential risk." Northern Light Blue Hill Hospital is making bottled water available for patients and staff, and they're also bringing in a tanker truck, which will pipe water directly into the hospital and adjacent buildings. They say the hospital is working with a Maine-based company that specializes in water remediation.
Well, drivers now facing an unwelcome surprise when they pull up to the pump. Gasoline prices have jumped 15 cents from last week to $4.09 a gallon. AAA Public Affairs Specialist Suzanne Gray says volatility in the Strait of Hormuz and instability in the region are behind the spike in prices. She offered some tips, though.
Combine trips, combine errands, carpool more often, and they'll make sacrifices in other parts of their budget. But unfortunately, with fuel, especially in rural states like Maine, we need to drive to get to where we need to go.
Grace says driving your car at 50 miles per hour, not idling, and having the right tire pressure will also give you the best fuel economy.
Well, following a month of public criticism, Lincoln Town councilors passed a new budget on Wednesday night with a decrease in cuts compared to their previous one. Our Doug Banks with that story.
With a vote of 5-2, the Lincoln Town Council passed a revised budget, decreasing the amount of cuts from the previous budget from 15% to 5%.
We ended up with probably a rough way to get there, but a better solution than what we had when we started this whole process.
Last month, the council passed a controversial budget proposed by Councilor David Ireland that would have slashed funding to departments like public safety, sparking pushback from residents and a major divide amongst council members. The new revised budget passed on Wednesday night addresses these concerns.
It is a cut to the expenses to a certain extent, but without cutting so far as to cut personnel and services.
Lincoln's fire chief tells me the new budget isn't ideal, but it's better than what it was a month ago.
We've got the emergency staff we need to run the 911 calls and do our transfers, and that's our goal.
But he says it will affect their building maintenance and the purchasing of equipment in the near future.
Our budget this year is going to be going into maintenance of vehicles because they're old, point blank.
The new budget was brought forth by town manager Wade Schaefer, who recently put in his resignation, something the town is no stranger to, since they've seen 4 town managers in the past 7 months either resign, decline, or be fired from the position. But Street told us on Thursday that Schaefer will remain at his post until the town finds its new manager, despite previous indications that he would step aside following Wednesday night's town meeting.
The fact that he is willing to do that for us really says a lot about his dedication to our town.
In Lincoln, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Lifelight of Maine has added another state-of-the-art medevac helicopter to its fleet, meaning another life-saving aircraft is now available to help Mainers in life-threatening situations. Lifelight of Maine says the new helicopter is named Yankee Mike, a nod to the last 2 letters on its tail number, N901YM. They acquired the helicopter last year and then spent months retrofitting it. Yankee Mike had only 300 hours of flight time when Lifelight acquired it. Lifelight of Maine helicopters generally average 535 hours of airtime each year. It is the 4th A109 SP helicopter to join the fleet. These aircraft are newer, faster, and larger than their predecessors.
Well, folks in Old Town came together to celebrate local first responders with a family-friendly event. Bennett Park was full of folks enjoying live music, barbecue, and a look at the day-to-day lives of local first responders. It's a part of the summer event series hosted by Downtown Old Town Volunteer Collective to help bring the community together for some free-of-charge fun. Organizers say there's a little something for everyone.
I'd say, we have had some great weather. The last few barbecues, we had a great turnout. We've got stuff for pretty much every age group. It's ADA friendly. We have a lot of people with walkers and scooters, pets and children.
Those first responders say it was great to receive interest from the community.
People really like the trucks. They like to be able to look at things. The kids love it, and I love to show off our fire trucks.
Well, the event may be over now, but there's still multiple events to look forward to up in Old Town. Looks like a lot of fun.
Us big kids like the fire trucks too.
Yes, of course.
Can I turn on the siren?
Yeah, let me get a tour.
Yeah.
Well, the time now is 6:12. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, some nurses are protesting Maine Health and its ties to an AI software company. We'll have more on that ahead.
But first, another look at that forecast. A nice day ahead today, a mostly sunny day with highs near 84 degrees. Mostly clear tonight with lows dropping down to the mid-50s. Tomorrow, another winter. Mostly sunny, highs near 85. We'll be right back.
She's a Grammy winner, loved by millions. And now this morning, Coco Jones is turning up the heat in your summer morning. Coco Jones performing live for you this morning on Good Morning America's Summer Concert Series, sponsored by Norwegian Cruise Line.
Imagine stepping onto your brand new deck, enjoying all the benefits of your expanded outdoor living space. Hammond Lumber Company can help turn that vision into reality. Visit any of Hammond's expansive showrooms and explore a world of possibilities. The timeless beauty of wood, the resilience of composite, or affordable, durable PVC. Railing options from traditional wood to sleek aluminum and contemporary cable railing. On-site consultation and delivery are available. Get started on your new deck when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company.
Live from the Maine Lobster Festival in Rockland, it's the Lobster Crate Races. Watch fearless racers dash across floating lobster crates. Will they make it or take a spectacular splash? Who will stay on their feet and who will take the plunge? Don't miss the Lobster Crate Races live from the Maine Lobster Festival, Sunday, August 2nd at 2 p.m. only on Fox 22.
I'm Beth Jones. Fox 22 News at 10 is where Maine turns for local stories. Join us tonight for breaking news, hometown sports, and of course, the state's most trusted forecast. We're keeping you informed every night.
Welcome back, everyone. Faith leaders in Maine are calling for an end to violence involving ICE agents, not just here in Maine, but across the U.S. They spoke Thursday in South Portland. Clergy from Minnesota, Texas, and Florida all calling for accountability for ICE and an end to ICE officer-involved shootings. The organizers also put it on simultaneous events in other states where victims have been killed. They call these deaths a pattern of violence that terrorizes communities.
When our immigrant neighbors are attacked, we are attacked. When our immigrant neighbors are attacked and living in fear, we are living in fear. When the hearts of our immigrant neighbors right here in Biddeford are breaking.
The faith leaders say they will continue to push Senator Susan Collins to stand up to President Trump to stop the violence of ICE agents in Maine.
In other news, Brewer City swimming pool will likely stay closed for the rest of the season. That's the word from city officials who have been trying to figure out why the pool has been losing water. The pool was closed last week when the staff realized the pool was leaking. The staff says it's unlikely to reopen this summer while they investigate the source of that leak and consider potential repairs.
Well, some nurses are protesting Maine Health and its ties to Plantair, an AI software company. Plantair Technology helps ICE locate people suspected of being in the country illegally. Their software is also in hospitals across the country. As Brad Rogers shows us, nurses are demanding Maine Health cut all ties with that company.
Palantir out! This notorious surveillance company founded by right-wing extremists has no place in our hospital. It's ours!
Maine Health nurses accuse Palantir of aiding in the Gaza genocide, targeting civilians in Iran, and helping ICE, quote, terrorize people like Johann Sebastian Guerrero, who was shot and killed by ICE in Biddeford as he left home for work.
Nurses feared it was only a matter of time before someone in our community would be killed. Maine Health is knowingly bankrolling an entity that is actively harming our community.
Nurses say some of Maine Health's own employees feel threatened by ICE.
How can we ask those employees to trust us when we maintain a partnership with a company whose name has become synonymous with ICE?
Maine Health declined our interview request, but told us Maine Health works with Palantir to challenge insurance denials. Hospital officials say this tool has helped overturn inappropriate coverage denials for thousands of Maine Health patients for medically necessary care. They also say Maine Health maintains strict safeguards to protect patient information, and it is not shared outside of Maine Health's oversight. But nurses say they have no way of knowing if that's true without seeing the contract with Palantir.
The entire contract is shrouded in secrecy, despite our numerous requests for information surrounding their relationship.
We reached out to Palantir for comment, but did not hear back. The company, which provides services for government and commercial purposes, did give a statement to NPR saying when Palantir employees are granted access to data, it is solely to help integrate and analyze that data, not to store it or use it for our own purposes.
I don't believe it for a second. I believe perhaps Maine Health believes it, but I don't think they know what the devil that they're dancing with.
Nurses say healthcare depends on trust and confidentiality. They say Maine Health's contract with Palantir breaks that trust, giving patients a reason to avoid the hospital.
Well, the time now is 6:18. After the break, we'll hear about a terrifying tourist seaplane crash up in Seattle. Those details coming up.
Plus, a rental e-bike company is hoping to expand services in Bucksport. We'll tell you all about it coming up on Good Morning Maine.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Located on Wilson Street in Brewer, Yoshi Japanese Restaurant, where you'll find only the best sushi, Asian favorites, and specialty crafted cocktails that will satisfy anyone. Try tatami seating for an immersive experience. Yoshi Japanese Restaurant, bringing delicious traditions to you.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
For the best selection in classic and contemporary furnishings, stop by Richard Parks Furniture on High Street in Ellsworth. Handcrafted New England-made bedrooms and dining rooms, imported Scandinavian recliners and upholstery, more than 40 lines of furniture for the home and patio. Richard Parks Furniture is your #1 stop for quality, functionality, and well-designed furniture at affordable prices. Richard Parks Furniture.
Discover Richard Parks.
132 High Street in Ellsworth.
Discover Richard.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Located on Wilson Street in Brewer, Yoshi Japanese Restaurant, where you'll find only the best sushi, Asian favorites, and specialty crafted cocktails that will satisfy anyone. Try tatami seating for an immersive experience. Yoshi Japanese Restaurant, bringing delicious traditions to you.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
A local e-bike business in Bucksport is creating a new way for tourists to explore the town.
Calvin White explains.
CJ Sprockets is an e-bike rental company hoping to introduce the tourists and residents of Down East Maine to a new way to sightsee. The business is looking to provide an alternative mode of transportation for passengers of cruise ships stopping in Bucksport. During the summer, Bucksport has seen an increasing number of American Cruise Line ships dock in town. As passengers disembark, they're met with a tent full of bikes. There, CJ Sprockets rents out Free Sky e-bikes to tourists by the hour or by the day.
It's a nice central location for us and a convenient location for picking up an e-bike to be able to go down to wherever you want to travel to.
CJ Sprockets is focused on providing an easier way for tourists who just got off a cruise ship to get to various attractions around the Bucksport area.
And it's a great riding experience, actually. When you get out of downtown and you're out into the rural areas of Bucksport, it's just a fantastic town. If you're interested in wildlife at all, birds of prey, it's an absolutely fantastic place to be.
Jones recommends going across the Penobscot Narrows Bridge and visiting Fort Knox. However, he says that is often too far for tourists to walk, and the only other option is a bus or Uber. But taking an e-bike is cheaper and gets you closer to the natural beauty of the town.
Well, Bucksport is a great example of that, actually, because it's a very hilly town. And so having an e-bike when you are coming off the ship, having the option for an e-bike available to you to explore the town a little bit more in depth, I think is a great solution.
Yeah. Kaylin Jones, daughter of Chris and Cindy Jones, says that traveling by e-bike is easier when parking is scarce and more personal when you want to leave the busy downtown area.
To be able to get around town quickly, especially if, let's say, you did a 4-hour rental. 4 hours in Bucksport is a long time, but if you spend half of that time walking around or trying to find a parking spot, it's so nice to be able to hop off your bike, go get lunch, hop back on, go up, find a trail, sit by the water. It makes things much more open and free, I think.
Along with the rental system, CJ Sprockets also offers a retail front in Bucksport, where customers can test ride and purchase their very own e-bike for traveling around the town. In Bucksport, Calvin White, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Looks like a great day to go for a bike ride somewhere.
It sure does. Now let's get a full look at our forecast with meteorologist Evan Biggs.
Alrighty, here we go. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Clifton General Store. Start your morning right at Clifton General Store. Fresh coffee and hot breakfast. Family owned and operated. Alrighty, here we go. Checking out the wayfind. It's a little bit active out there at around 3 feet. Not enough to prompt any advisories along the coast, while farther out towards sea, where the cold front is, we have 5 to 6 foot wave heights that are being observed this morning. So overall, we are looking pretty good. Let's check out the water temperatures right now. We are in the upper 50s to lower 60s right nearby, a little bit cooler further off towards the north and east. And we have upper 40s here to upper 50s right there and upper 60s further out towards sea. Meanwhile, we have high pressure right overhead for us, and that's keeping things very quiet. And further off towards the north, a little bit of energy. That will not be any problems for us. It's going to be a very nice day today thanks to high pressure under a mostly sunny sky, and the wind will not be a problem either. It will be a beautiful day to get outside and enjoy the weather. Futurecast moving forward today, we will be under a mostly sunny sky. You may notice a few passing clouds at times, especially by late afternoon into the evening time frame, and then mostly clear overnight. And then once we head towards your Saturday, a beautiful start. And then once we head towards Saturday night, again, you may notice a few passing clouds, but then everything fizzling out as the sun goes down. Once we head towards your Sunday, some more clouds on the way, but overall not looking too bad at all. Lots of sunshine today, so that UV index forecast will be at a 7. That's high, a bird time of around 30 minutes or so. So hats, sunglasses, sunscreen, and shade will be necessary to avoid a bad sunburn. So your forecast coming up showing middle 80s under that mostly sunny sky, a beautiful one out there with that west breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Middle 50s tonight under a mostly clear sky with the wind overall looking nice and calm. And then Saturday we have middle 80s under a mostly sunny sky with that south breeze getting up to about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Your extended forecast showing Sunday under a partly cloudy sky with temperatures in the mid 80s. And then for your Monday, a partly cloudy sky, middle 80s as well. A lot of dry days on here. And then for your Tuesday under a mostly cloudy sky with highs in the upper 70s.
If you've been injured in a motorcycle wreck, call 855-IRON-LAW today. Iron Horse Motorcycle Lawyers. We protect our own.
Invest in your nest with the County Federal Credit Union. Your home has grown in value season after season. With the county's 1010 Home Equity Line of Credit, you can borrow up to your credit limit over 10 years with interest-only payments over those 10 years, 10-10. And then you can stop and smell the roses, soak up the sun, and invest in your nest. The 1010 Home Equity Line of Credit, the County Federal Credit Union, countyfcu.org.
Here at Twin City Tire and Service, you will be working with industry professionals. We have ASE certified master technicians and certified tire and lube technicians. If we need your vehicle for a duration of time, we offer a complimentary shuttle service and can even offer a loaner vehicle. Being a client at Twin City Tire and Service means that we will treat you right. This includes a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on mechanical repairs. We also provide you with 1 year of complimentary roadside assistance. Come see us today at Twin City Tire and Service in Brewer.
Are you experiencing foot pain? Comfort Shoes and More has a team of experts trained in pet orthics to help you find relief. They offer tailored fittings, shoe modifications, customized orthotics, and much more for the ordinary or for the hard-to-fit foot, with fashionable and functional footwear from today's top brands: Hoka, Brooks, Keen, Teva, Taos, Ufus, and Birkenstocks. From running to walking, casual or dress, they have it all. Take the drive to Newport for a sit and fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
It has been nearly 2 straight weeks of the U.S. bombing Iran. And now President Trump says he may go even bigger with the attacks as he signs a controversial nuclear deal with Saudi Arabia. This causing oil and gasoline prices to continue to skyrocket. ABC's Karen Waugh has the latest.
This morning, U.S. forces bombing Iran for the 13th straight night. Iran says it responded by attacking U.S. bases in Bahrain and Jordan. Now Trump tells Axios, "I am considering a massive attack, bigger than ever before," but he has not made a final call. Senior officials tell ABC News the strike could be bigger than anything from Operation Epic Fury. But even with threats of more military action, the New York Times reporting overnight Iran rejected a new U.S. ceasefire offer, which was reportedly brought to the table by Iraq's prime minister after a White House visit. This comes as Houthi rebels in Yemen, backed by Iran, attacked 2 Saudi oil tankers in the Red Sea. And President Trump signed a controversial deal to help Saudi Arabia develop a nuclear energy program. But this would require the Saudis to normalize diplomatic relations with Israel, which they refuse to do unless Israel clears a path to a Palestinian state. The nuclear deal causing bipartisan alarm.
The world right now should tremble because a new nuclear weapons era has begun in the Middle East.
I want to make sure it's done under the appropriate oversight and safeguards.
The economic fallout for American consumers has been swift. Crude oil closed at $100 a barrel for the first time since May. The Dow down more than 500 points. And gas up 15 cents in a week to $4.09 a gallon. Experts say it could hit $4.40 in the coming weeks. A new Fox News poll shows 2/3 of American voters, 67%, disapprove of how President Trump is handling the economy. That is a career low. Karen Waugh, ABC News, Washington.
A police shooting of a homeless man in Madison, Wisconsin ignites protests and calls for racial justice overnight. Angry demonstrators took to Madison streets and chanted against police on Thursday night, demanding accountability. Their anger was sparked by the police shooting death of 38-year-old Corey Darrell Ruiz, a homeless man who allegedly wounded an officer with a knife while resisting arrest on Wednesday. Ruiz is identified as Black or Latino in Wisconsin court records. The race of the officer who shot him has not been released by police. Ruiz had been in and out of jail on both misdemeanor and felony charges throughout the past several years. Attorney Ben Crump, who has represented the families of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, who were shot and killed by police, has been retained by Ruiz's family. Crump wants an investigation into excessive force used by police.
Well, now to what New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani called hateful and despicable attacks. Two men stabbed minutes apart, both attacks near Central Park, and one man is now in custody, and police are still trying to figure out why it all happened. The attacks now being investigated as possible hate crimes. One of the victims is a Jewish man who was lying outside a church and synagogue after getting stabbed on the Upper West Side. And not long before that attack, another man of Asian descent was stabbed in the back near Central Park. The suspect, a 51-year-old man, is now in custody awaiting charges. He has 2 prior drug arrests from 1991 and others that were sealed. Both the victims are expected to survive.
Well, breaking news overnight, a tourist seaplane crashing off of the coast of Washington state with 11 people on board. The terrifying moment all caught on video. The plane can be seen skimming low over the water before banking hard and crashing into the rocky shoreline. Passengers scrambling out of the cabin as Good Samaritans rush in to help. Moments later, flames erupting from the engine, fire swallowing the plane. Authorities say all 11 survived, the pilot and 10 passengers. Several were hurt and one person is in critical condition. Investigators are now working to determine why the pilot attempted an emergency landing. The NTSB and FAA are investigating the company, and it says it's also cooperating.
Well, how scary
Very
is that?
scary.
Yeah.
Well, coming up on the second half of the newscast, the Augusta Civic Center will be hosting a quilting expo this weekend.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
We'll hear about it coming up.
Hello, this is George Whelan, founder of Down East Direct Cremation. Over the years, you have come to trust Down East Direct Cremation as your cremation experts, creating the standard for simple, affordable, and respectful cremation care. Through these times of turbulent economy, COVID, rising energy costs, and inflation, Down East Direct Cremation has maintained our price. Unfortunately, due to the ever-increasing cost of doing business, I have been left with no other choice than to raise our price, effective September 8th, 2026. I am sorry. Of course, all current guaranteed mortuary trust agreements will be honored with no additional charges. You or anyone who is thinking of prepaying with Down East Direct Cremation will have until then to lock in our current price of $975 complete. For more information or to schedule an in-store appointment, please call us or prepay online using the button exclusively at downeastdirectcremation.com.
It's America's 250th birthday. The Maine Semi-Quincentennial Commission invites you to connect Maine's stories to America's legacy, sharing Maine's contributions to the nation's story, and exploring Maine's role in America's future. From potlucks to parades and more, you'll find a full list of many exciting America 250 events on our page on the maine.gov/SOS website. Happy birthday, America! Brought to you by this station, the Maine Association of Broadcasters, and the Office of the Secretary of State of Maine.
She picked up a flower pot, threw it through the front windshield of my car.
They didn't actually see me do it.
A jilted ex keeps denying.
She came back with a rock.
Who saw that? No one. You're supposed to be quiet.
But she has to have the last word.
The car didn't even run. Not because of what I did. I mean, what he's saying I did.
Next, Judge Judy.
Friday at 5 on ABC 7.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. Today is Friday, July 24th, 2026, and this is also National Drive-Thru Day.
This day celebrates picking up a meal without having to leave your car. America's first drive-through restaurant was opened at Red's Giant Hamburg in Springfield, Missouri in 1947. Other restaurants followed suit to take advantage of the traveling public. In fact, drive-thrus became so popular that car manufacturers later started adding cup holders to vehicles.
Kind of makes sense. We spend so much time in our cars.
We really do.
Yeah, I was reading about this earlier, and Jack in the Box was the first major chain to have a drive-through in the 1960s. McDonald's was kind of late to the game.
Was it?
They started in the mid-1970s or something like that, and they had already had thousands of restaurants by the time they got their first drive-through.
Interesting.
Yeah, so.
Interesting how it kind of carried on,
yeah,
you know, and now basically every fast food place has a drive-through.
Fast foods, pharmacies, I mean,
everything.
A lot of businesses have them.
Yep.
All right, moving on to some other history. It was on this date back in 1567. Mary, Queen of Scots, was forced to abdicate her throne to her one-year-old son, James. He later became King James. She was involved in a public scandal over her new marriage, and many believe she was also involved in her previous husband's murder. So they made her step down.
Yeah.
In 1779, a naval expeditionary force set out to confront British forces who had established a small fort and trading post right here in Maine, in Castine. They were planning to capture the 750-man British garrison and other British-held areas, but they became bogged down during weeks of fighting, giving the British time to send in reinforcements. The Patriots were forced to retreat up the Penobscot River and burn their own ships along the way to keep them out of enemy hands.
Wow.
Kind of interesting. Some of the remains of those boats are still there in the Penobscot.
Yeah.
I went out with a UMaine researcher once, and we used some side-scan sonar. We were trying to find some cannons and that sort of thing.
Really
so
interesting.
Still trying to map out all the remains.
Yeah.
So. All right, one more. In 1847, Mormon leader Brigham Young and his followers arrived in Salt Lake Valley in present-day Utah. Of course, that's where they began the whole church movement for the Mormons.
In 1915, tragedy struck in Chicago when the SS Eastland passenger ship rolled onto its side while docked in the Chicago River. The ship had become top-heavy after modifications that included the addition of lifeboats. More than 2,500 people were aboard the ship, and an estimated 844 died in that disaster. In 1958, Boston Red Sox great Ted Williams was fined $250 for spitting on fans.
Yankee fans.
Yeah.
They were booing him.
Can't have that.
No.
In 1969, the Apollo 11 astronauts splashed down safely in the Pacific Ocean. It was carrying the first humans to set foot on the moon. And 1974, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that President Richard Nixon had to turn over secret White House recordings to the Watergate special prosecutor.
Bunch of things happened on this day.
A lot, yeah.
All right, for birthdays today, they include singer and actress Jennifer Lopez. She is 57 today. Hard to believe. She looks fantastic.
She looks great, yeah.
Actor Michael Richards from Seinfeld, Kramer, is 77. And actress Rose Byrne is 47 today. Happy birthday to them and to you also, if your birthday is today.
We'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Friday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Clifton General Store. Start your morning right at Clifton General Store. Fresh coffee and hot breakfast. Family owned and operated. Alrighty, here we go this morning. It's a nice start, and it's going to be a very nice day filled with a lot of sunshine. No advisories in effect. So if you're looking for reasons to get outside, this will be one of those nice days to take advantage of that, with a front that's tracking off towards the east. Not a whole lot going on with that, and overall not a whole lot of anything right behind it. This will not be causing any troubles for us either. Futurecast moving forward, lots of sunshine today, a few clouds developing from time to time. We will be under a mostly cleared sky overnight tonight. So overall for today, middle 80s on the way, not too shabby under a mostly sunny sky, and that west breeze only at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Look at this, overnight mostly clear with only middle 50s overnight, and the wind overall looking nice and calm. And then it's Saturday, mid 80s again under a mostly sunny sky with that south breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Hourly forecast pushing forward, plenty of sunshine with temperatures warming up into the 80s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
All right, thank you, Devin. Well, still to come here this morning, Max Sturm with sports.
Don't go away.
When I was 29, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I think part of research and advocating for more money for cancer research allows survivors to have more time. Senator Collins supports and advocates for more funding for cancer research so that people can have better treatments, they can have better outcomes, and therefore they can live better lives as cancer survivors. Thank you, Senator Collins. Continue fighting for our families.
Webb's RV Center has a 4-acre lot with over 75 previously owned campers all on sale, plus another 4 acres of new RVs and motorhomes. Webb's RV will take anything in trade. You can buy a camper anywhere, but be sure to buy your next camper at your local neighbor. A website can't service your RV, but Webb's RV will. And they have the biggest service department in the state of Maine to help you enjoy your RV or motorhome.
So come on down, neighbor. The coffee pot's on and the pencil is sharp.
Keep your boat safe, functional, and beautiful with a Shoremaster boat lift from Hammond Lumber Company. Your Hammond sales rep can help you choose the perfect lift for your boat. Shoremaster's exclusive Whisper winch offers the industry's smoothest and quietest operation. Add speed and convenience with a Shoremaster lift motor. And Shoremaster's modular Infinity design makes it easy to upgrade with accessories when you're ready. Take your boating experience to the next level with a Shoremaster boat lift from Hammond Lumber Company.
ABC 7 and Fox 22's Jack Webb named Maine's Sportscaster of the Year by the National Sports Media Association.
Welcome back in, folks. The Maine men's basketball team is back to work for summer practices, and 2 key contributors to the 2024 America East title game run are gearing up to get back on the court for the first time since their injuries. Before the start of the 25-26 season, Maine lost both forward Killian Gribben and guard Darius Lopez to season-ending lower body injuries. But now, both are on pace to be ready for the 26 campaign. In 24, Gribben averaged 5 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists per game. And he says after a disappointing end to last season, he's excited to show what he can bring to the team.
Sitting out for like last year, being like, oh, I wish I could have do more. But I feel like I've learned a lot, like being like more of a vocal leader, and I can definitely incorporate it this year. And I've got a great support staff, like help me get back on the court, make sure like everything's okay, checking on me every day. So I'm just itching to get back out there.
Both Gribben and Lopez were huge losses for the team last year, and head coach Chris Markwood is thrilled to see them make a return to the court soon.
It's huge. I mean, to get him, Killian, and Darius back, I don't think people fully understand how big of losses those were for us last year. You know, neither one of them played last year at all. You know, they're 2 starter-level guys. They want to be good, and to have that taken away from them last year is really hard to watch. They're working really hard to get back. I know they're really excited about this group and getting back after it this year.
All right, folks, the Flagg family took to the stage of Family Feud on Thursday. And if you missed it, don't worry. We've pieced together a quick recap for you. Let's take a look.
Time for Celebrity Family Feud. Tonight's going to be a barn burner. We've got Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy and the Barstool crew playing for Lifeline Animal Project. They're going up against NBA Rookie of the Year, Cooper Flagg and family, playing for the Ronald McDonald House of Dallas.
Cooper, name something a player probably got that a regular guy might not.
Lots of women.
Got lots of women. Back to Celebrity Family Feud, everybody. The Flagg family won the game. And now it's time to play. A gentleman never asked a woman what. You said, oh, wait. Survey said, that's a good one.
Boom.
Oh, big ass. That's good, man. He got 151 points.
Okay.
151. You need 49 points to win. Name a wild animal you'd find living in cities.
Mouse.
Survey said. Good job, guys.
Cool moment for Cooper and his whole family and the state of Maine as a whole. Speaking of Cooper, though, there was a familiar face in Bangor on Thursday.
Cooper Flag got a round in at Bangor Muni as birdies shared a photo on their Facebook. Certainly not a bad time of year for Coop to come back home and unwind during the offseason. All right, folks, if you don't know, you should know that the Senior Legion baseball playoffs have been taking place. We were lucky enough to have a great game at Mansfield tonight, so let's bring you those highlights. It's the Down East Captains and the Bangor Comrades in the quarterfinal game. Right away in the first, it's Trevor Shima-Buckarow with a nice hit to get onto first base. 1 on for the Captains right off the bat. He would steal second and then make it all the way home when Max Worcester smacks this one, and it's 1-0 for Down East. But Bangor responds quickly. A bouncing hit from Gavin Glanville-True sneaks past first base, and he gets all the way to second. And then Ethan Sproul knocks one deep. It's way up there, and eventually it's going to be caught for the out. Now for the foot race for Glanville-True as he gets home to tie the game in the first, and then in the third, new pitcher for Down East. It goes wide, and Glanville-True takes the opportunity to make his way home, just beats the throw. Bangor goes on to win 9-2. Well, it's been quite the few weeks for the Boston Red Sox and their fans as the team made history, going from being considered one of the worst teams in the league following a series loss to the Rockies at the end of June to being right back in the conversation at the end of July, all thanks to a franchise record 15-game win streak. With a win on Wednesday afternoon, the Sox secured win number 15, tying the record for the longest win streak in franchise history that dates back to 1946. The Sox did fail, however, to get win number 16 to stand alone with that honor as they fell to the Orioles in Game 2 of the doubleheader by a score of 5-1 after the Orioles jumped on them early with a 4-0 lead in the first. It was a disappointing result for Sox fans hoping to see that record be broken, but interim manager Chad Tracy spoke to the positives after the game on Wednesday.
We just won 15 games in a row, and I think all of us knew that that's going to end at some point. It just happened to end tonight, so they're already refocused. I wanted to go in and talk to the team, and Sonny and Wilson were already handling it. I'll leave that message for in there. The focus is there now on, that's behind us, and the big thing is if we continue to play baseball that way, regardless of how many wins in a row, we're going to win a heck of a lot more than we lose. So that's the focus now.
All right, folks, that's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back.
ABC 7, Fox 22. The place we call home, telling Maine stories wherever you roam. From sunrise shores to forests of pine, hard work, strong hearts, values that shine. From old towns to harbors, back roads to ocean blue. Neighbors helping neighbors in all that we do. Through storms and clear skies, day after day, we're here with the stories that matter in Maine. From mountains to sea, standing strong and true. This is Maine, this is home on ABC 7, Fox 22.
Welcome back, everyone. Thousands of hours, tens and thousands of stitches, and more than 500 quilts are filling the Augusta Civic Center this weekend.
Our Alex Schley takes us inside Maine Quilts 2026, where every quilt has a story.
At first glance, it's a sea of color, but look a little closer, and each quilt reveals its own story, told one stitch at a time.
And all of these little circles are made out of feed sack fabrics, which is fabric that they used on grain sacks like during the Depression.
This year's show features more than 500 quilts. ranging from traditional patterns to modern designs.
There is a group that's into modern quilting, so it comes out a little differently than the traditional.
Each one a work of art, often reflecting hundreds of hours and sometimes months of careful work.
Hand quilted. She puts it in like a hoop and then hand quilts it with thread as opposed to machine quilting it.
For many quilters, the event is about more than competition. It's a chance to share their craft, learn more from one another, and keep the tradition alive that has been passed down through generations.
We have a couple quilt classes for the kids this year, and we also award up to 10 kids a free sewing machine.
The show also features vendors, workshops, lectures, and live demonstrations, giving both beginners and experienced quilters a chance to pick up new skills. And while some quilters will leave with ribbons, many say their passion for the craft extends far beyond the Civic Center.
I do a lot of charity quilts, and it's always heartwarming to get thank you notes from people that have charity quilts. I do a lot with hospice quilts, and that means a lot to patients to have a little bit of color and warmth from home if they're in hospice.
Maine Quilts 2026 continues through the weekend at the Augusta Civic Center. In Augusta, Alex Live for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
They're really, truly artists, you
Yeah,
know?
super talented.
Yeah.
Well, now here's meteorologist Devin Biggs with our full weather forecast.
Alrighty, here we go. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Clifton General Store. Start your morning right at Clifton General Store. Fresh coffee and hot breakfast. Family owned and operated. Alrighty, here we go. Checking out the wayfind. It's a little bit active out there at around 3 feet. Not enough to prompt any advisories along the coast, while farther out towards sea, where the cold front is, we have 5 to 6 foot wave heights that are being observed this morning. So overall, we are looking pretty good. Let's check out the water temperatures right now. We are in the upper 50s to lower 60s right nearby, a little bit cooler further off towards the north and east. And we have upper 40s here to upper 50s right there and upper 60s further out towards sea. Meanwhile, we have high pressure right overhead for us, and that's keeping things very quiet. And further off towards the north, a little bit of energy. That will not be any problems for us. It's going to be a very nice day today thanks to high pressure under a mostly sunny sky, and the wind will not be a problem either. It will be a beautiful day to get outside and enjoy the weather. Futurecast moving forward today, we will be under a mostly sunny sky. You may notice a few passing clouds at times, especially by late afternoon into the evening time frame, and then mostly clear overnight. And then once we head towards your Saturday, a beautiful start. And then once we head towards Saturday night, again, you may notice a few passing clouds, but then everything fizzling out as the sun goes down. Once we head towards your Sunday, some more clouds on the way, but overall not looking too bad at all. Lots of sunshine today, so that UV index forecast will be at a 7. That's high, a bird time of around 30 minutes or so. So hats, sunglasses, sunscreen, and shade will be necessary to avoid a bad sunburn. So your forecast coming up showing middle 80s under that mostly sunny sky, a beautiful one out there with that west breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Middle 50s tonight under a mostly clear sky, with the wind overall looking nice and calm. And then Saturday, we have middle 80s under a mostly sunny sky, with that south breeze getting up to about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Your extended forecast showing Sunday under a partly cloudy sky with temperatures in the mid 80s. And then for your Monday, a partly cloudy sky, middle 80s as well. A lot of dry days on here. And then for your Tuesday, under a mostly cloudy sky with highs in the upper 70s.
Susan Collins broke her promise to protect Roe v. Wade. When Donald Trump called, she cast the deciding vote for his Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe v. Wade. And she voted to put more than 100 Trump judges on the bench. States are banning abortion without exceptions, and women are dying. But Susan Collins says,
I do not regret that vote.
Tell Susan Collins to stop breaking her word. Stop voting for Trump's anti-choice judges.
For the best selection in classic and contemporary furnishings, stop by Richard Parks Furniture on High Street in Ellsworth. Handcrafted New England-made bedrooms and dining rooms, imported Scandinavian recliners and upholstery, more than 40 lines of furniture for the home and patio. Richard Parks Furniture is your #1 stop for quality, functionality, and well-designed furniture at affordable prices. Richard Parks Furniture.
Discover Richard Parks.
132 High Street in Ellsworth.
Discover Richard.
Situated in Jonesboro on the coast of Maine lies Barren View Golf Course, a true links course that's a treat for golfers of all skill levels. We feature a driving range, putting green, practice sand trap, pro shop, and snack bar. Open 7 days a week. Please call ahead for a tee time.
Here at Twin City Tire and Service, you will be working with industry professionals. We have ASE certified master technicians and certified tire and lube technicians. If we need your vehicle for a duration of time, we offer a complimentary shuttle service and can even offer a loaner vehicle. Being a client at Twin City Tire and Service means that we will treat you right. This includes a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on mechanical repairs. We also provide you with 1 year of complimentary roadside assistance. Come see us today at Twin City Tire and Service in Brewer.
If I were to describe this case in 3 words, I would call it brutal, intimate, and cruel.
Go inside a murder mystery where nothing is as it seems.
Hands up! Hands up!
2020, tonight on ABC and stream on Disney Plus and Hulu.
If you live in the Augusta area, you are probably already noticing a busier environment. Maine's capital city will host an Ironman triathlon this weekend, and officials want the community to be aware that that'll mean major traffic changes and increases in foot traffic and visitors as well.
And there will be no access to the following: Augusta Greenway Boat Landing Park, Union Street and Capitol Park, and North Street Front. And there are also multiple street closures ongoing due to the race. You can take a look for yourself on the map on the screen.
If you can see it, you need a microscope to see it, though, I think. Bottom line, though, a lot of roads will be closed in the area. People are urged to slow down and be aware of their surroundings and look out for the racers.
Yeah, definitely
this
good
weekend.
to keep all those in mind, and congratulations to everyone running this or doing the triathlon, I should say.
Yeah, good luck to them.
This is hard,
Yeah.
hard work. Well, meanwhile, there was a new addition to the southern poodoo herd at the Cologne Zoo in western Germany. Meet the poodoo named Yene. The poodoo species is one of the world's smallest deer species. According to the zoo press release, her mother is 3-year-old Yadira, who came from the Cologne Zoo from the Rotterdam Zoo, and the father was born at the Cologne Zoo about 4 years ago. Look at them.
They're very cute.
They are. They're so tiny.
They've got some tiny deer running around the Keys down in Florida. I think they call them key deer. And
Oh.
they're just tiny, tiny little deer that run around, kind of like that.
They're
Neat.
so small.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time that we have left for this hour, but you can join us for the second hour of Good Morning Maine. That's next on Fox 22.
Have a great day, everyone.
I got hurt by a big truck. Why did I call the twos? Because life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money, and I'll fight to get it for you. We got a client who broke multiple bones in a commercial vehicle accident, $700,000. Another client had a brain injury, and we got them $1.15 million. If you get hurt by a big truck, call the twos. We win for you.
Hurt by a big truck? Call the twos. We win for you.
Happy Endings in downtown Bangor. This is where a delicious dinner meets a great drink. From the first bite to the last, Happy Endings serves the kind of meal you don't rush. And behind the bar, smooth, crisp drinks made just right. Perfect for date night, a night out, or your new favorite stop downtown. Happy Endings, 32 Main Street, Bangor. Open 7 days a week. Follow us on Facebook for specials and events.
never stops at Wheel.
You got it! It's a car! And the crowd goes wild. A truly historic bonus round on Wheel of Fortune. Somebody could win $500,000. Where are you going? To pass out. Exciting giveaways ahead, like fabulous vacations, and let's manifest another $1 million winner. You're a millionaire! Oh my God!
Weekdays at 7 on ABC 7.
Thousands of kids like Caroline receive life-changing care at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center each year, the only full-service pediatric program north of Portland. You can help support them by joining the Summer Classic for Maine Kids Golf Tournament, happening July 31st at Bangor Municipal Golf Course. Benefiting the Children's Miracle Network at Eastern Maine Medical Center, every dollar raised supports pediatric care today, tomorrow, and for years to come. Ready to tee up for a great cause? Visit northernlight.org/4kids to learn more and register today.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Good Morning America.
To the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, the legal battle over Juniper Ridge landfill continues as the Penobscot Nation and environmental advocates are working to block the expansion.
Plus, the Lincoln Town Council passed a revised budget decreasing the amount of cuts. We'll have the details ahead.
And folks in Old Town celebrated first responders yesterday. We'll join them coming up.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll have those stories and more this morning. But first, to check on that forecast, the weekend is finally upon us.
It is.
Everyone has big plans these days. And
yeah, well, it looks like it's going to be a really nice weekend, nice and sunny.
it doesn't get much better than if you want a nice summer day, it's going to be
Absolutely.
mid-80s and sunshine.
Perfect.
Yes.
We'll turn things over